This week on the Pathways to Success, we're going to teach you digital marketing strategies to explode your business. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Pathways to Success podcast. Today on the show, I have Joel Widmer, who is an entrepreneur, a digital marketing strategist, as well as the founder and CEO of Fluxe Digital Marketing. Joel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Great to be here.
So, Joel, I'm so excited about you on the podcast because I'm sort of in this place right now where I built a podcast and I have a following, and now I'm looking to sort of create a product to serve them through kind of my experience. And as I've been interviewing my listeners, the one thing that they wanted me to teach is sort of discipline and also goal attainment. And I'm kind of in the process of building a product and a training for them, which is really fitting given your expertise because of your online marketing experience and track record of doing something like this before. And that's why I was super pumped to have you on the show. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your marketing agency. There was one line about kind of a description in terms of your organization that I wanted to dig into. It says, you help companies turn their best ideas into consistent content for lead generation and retention without writing a word. And there's what with 3 question marks. What does that mean, man?
So everybody creates content in different ways, right? Mm-hmm. And they have, it's different for everyone. For you, you are awesome at communicating and talking. Right? This podcast is a perfect way for you to create content. It's effortless. You're awesome at it. I mean, like with the growth of the show, it's obvious. Like people love hearing you like do these videos and stuff. I bet if you were to sit down and write, it's probably not the same way, right?
It's not. It's like pulling teeth.
Yes, writing, exactly. And so that's the rub is with people. So many people are so much better at interacting. And that's when their best ideas come out, right? Mm-hmm. During great conversations, great lunches, phone calls, and then what happens afterwards? It dies. When you hang up the phone, when you leave the room, it's like, oh, that's great, but I don't remember what I said, you know? So what we do is help people and recreate their best, like their most brilliant moments by pulling that stuff out of them in the most effortless way possible.
And how exactly do you do that? I think it said something that you have a world-class kind of interview process, because that's what I'm learning also, because you're right. It's so hard for me to sit down and write a book, but if someone asks me a question and then I respond just naturally the way that I do, it's like, holy crap, we gotta write this stuff down. This is amazing, right?
Exactly.
So what exactly does that process look like?
So it's taken 8 years, but we've been refining it over that time and keep doing it. But we do, when someone comes on board, we do all of the research. We do all of everything from the SEO research, figuring out what topics are best to talk about, talking with their customers, with them, with the people on their team. Then we chat with them, and we just pull out all their best ideas, like what are all the possible things. We prioritize them, and then it's as simple as an hour phone call a month. So we can do it in a fraction of the time it would take. I calculated once, and to actually create a good article, good blog post from the ideation, brainstorming, figuring out the keyword research, writing, editing, proofreading, publishing, promotion, all of that stuff. It's like 16 hours.
Oh, wow.
And so we take it from 16 hours to an hour, and they just jump on a call, and we've reverse engineered all their content into questions, and they don't even realize or remember that they're really doing an interview. It's just a conversation like with a great prospect or customer.
And how do you match their voice and their tone? That's always one of the concerns that I've had.
Yes.
It's because I'm really big into creating my own stuff and communicating it the way that I uniquely do. How do you capture their voice?
Great question. And that's something I hope if anybody has somebody write for them, that should be one of the first questions that they ask.
Yeah.
Because with a ghostwriter, it's like you give them an outline and you expect them to somehow capture your voice, but that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
It really doesn't. So we go through painstaking process of first we read everything that person has produced. We have several like onboarding, not just questionnaires, but phone calls to really capture what their voice is. And our goal is to sound more like them than they sound like them. But the other thing is when we have these calls, we record them, we transcribe them, we outline them. So we aren't making stuff up. I mean, we're taking their words and just making them sound as good offline or sound as good online as they do offline.
Yeah.
So we aren't making stuff up. We're using their words.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man.
So it's about as authentic as you can get.
Yeah.
It's even more authentic, I think, than you sitting down to write, because a lot of times you don't sound like you want to because you're overthinking it, you're second guessing yourself, you know. It's actually it's how you sound when you're interacting and when you're at your best with other people.
And here's something that I genuinely appreciate about you, Joel, when you and I first met, and it's like, for me, I'm really careful about who I get advice from, and you have this interesting story where you needed to succeed, because I remember you told me you struggled out of school and you couldn't find a job. So eventually you had to really build a business around kind of an expertise, and you've been doing this for a while now, so it's like you are a proven commodity within the marketplace in your craft. Can you share just a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was 2009 when I graduated, I think, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had a marketing degree, which we know doesn't really mean anything, but there wasn't very many jobs in 2009. I got out, I was in Nashville, and so I just kind of started applying at these places I never thought I would have to, like CarMax and this Best Buy knockoff, and this jewelry company that was going out of business. It was ridiculous. I got rejected, thank goodness, from all of them. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to. I want to start a business. I just didn't I definitely wasn't thinking of doing it then, it was like maybe in a few years, but a mentor convinced me to do it. He kind of helped me. We had some huge deals in the works, and they fell through, and he was like, okay, well, I can't really, dedicate too much more time because I've got a family to feed, and but I will, continue to support you, just kind of help you along. I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this. And it got, it was really tough the first couple months, but it got to the point one time, or a couple months in, where my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, she was like, man, if you don't get a client by the end of this month, you're going to you've got to go look for a job again. Yeah. And I was like, that was all I needed. I got the client, and it was like a rocket from there on.
Do you remember how you got that client? What actually worked?
Jeez, I honestly don't. It was through a referral or a connection, because I kind of served at several groups. Yeah. And I just kind of put everything aside, and I was like, I put myself out there, and it worked. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I think you said something that was a key there, is that it was a referral, right? So it came in through your network from someone that you trust. And honestly, just in recruiting and in my sales experience, that has been a huge part of it, was the referral piece. So that's an interesting way that you got that first client. So let's kind of jump into things. And again, I was hoping we could treat this as you actually consulting me live in front of the camera, so we can go through a real world scenario and see kind of what might work for kind of where I am in the process, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So again, I'm working in a program, it's called the Manifestation Blueprint, 6 Steps to Get Anything You Want in Life. And right now, it's basically my goal-setting methodology. And I'm crafting it out into eventually it's going to become a book, it's going to become courses, training, and speeches and things like that. So the first kind of point that you shared with me here is to build an effective marketing strategy versus flying by the seat of your pants. So first off, before someone works with you, do they need a fully fleshed out product or no?
Right now, the clients that we are taking on, we do want them to have a product.
Okay.
That's just the type of clients that we're working with. I'm working on a few products to help them get to that point. Yeah. But we take on people with products.
Got it. Okay. So let's say that what's that?
Oh, but we also take on, our main clients are people with services businesses, SaaS companies, and e-commerce companies.
Got it. So let's go along the vein of services then, right? Because part of that, in addition to having a product, I want to serve by doing trainings and speeches and seminars, right? So let's kind of go along with that. And the coupling product would, of course, be the online training and also the book, right? so let's go there. So what's an example of an effective marketing strategy you would create for a service business, specifically in kind of what I'm doing?
Okay, so can we back up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you really want me to
Let's do it.
consult you,
Let's
I'm
do
going
it for
to.
real. Yeah.
So I always warn my clients up front, I'm not very tactful.
Sure, no problem, yeah.
They love it. A lot of times my wife, I don't switch out of, marketing mode when I get home, so
Sure.
I've got to make sure I do that. But, so I just want to back up to what you were saying. You chose your product name.
Yeah.
One thing that I am a huge proponent of is you don't choose it, your audience does.
Okay.
And them telling you that they like it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
They've got to show you with their wallet.
Interesting.
And so it just means saying, yeah, I think the manifestation blueprint sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But the next step is, okay, would you buy it for X?
Yeah.
And can I put you on a list and pre-sell it? Because I can say, sure, yeah, I would buy it, but if I don't actually pull out my wallet, anybody can say that.
So is the idea there to test the name first without kind of fully fleshing it, telling them what the product is, or help me kind of understand that? Because that's the first thing that you went after, was the name.
No, I'm saying like the concept, the name sounds awesome. I'm saying that people will tell you anything, especially your friends.
Right.
But when it comes time to actually put money down, it's a very different story.
Got it.
Right? It's like, think of it like Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Would they invest in it? Would they throw the money before it's ready?
Okay. So the name, as I mentioned to you, like it first came from, I started interviewing people, like what's the thing that they wanted me to teach? And you're right, because they haven't actually paid for it yet, but this was still kind of just the ideation phase of building a product, right? And that was the word discipline. And what people see, what they describe in terms of my discipline is my consistency to achieve my goals and just my track record of doing it, right? So that's where I turned this into a product, because I can see this, I've experienced it in my health and fitness, in my finances, in my relationships. You can apply it to basically anything, right?
Yes.
So let's say I stick with that title. Is there a way to test that to see if it's viable to move forward? How do you do that?
There's a bunch of different ways. I'll give you a few.
Okay.
So these people that love the title, that said it, so first I would talk to them, and then if you have a price point in mind, I would actually get a couple of those people and push them a little bit further and say, okay, how much are you willing to pay for this?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking, say, $297 or something, would you be willing to pay that? And like if you pre-order it, I could give you a discount or something, but like see if they actually would, or like actually maybe put down like $50 just to reserve a discounted price.
Okay.
Something like that. I would also email my list and say, hey, I'm thinking about building this product. What do you think? Respond back and let me know, or fill out a short survey. Take the people that respond back, a few of them, and interview them and do the same thing.
Okay.
Give them a call, do a quick 10-minute call and say, hey, can I chat with you about it a little bit? And see if they would put down, like set up a Gumroad or PayPal account and say, hey, I will give you a discount, if you, reserve it for $50 or something.
Yeah. Okay. So right now it sounds like kind of we're talking sort of a mix of product ideation and testing the viability.
Validation, yeah.
Right, exactly, right? So I mentioned to you something that I'm going to be doing to sort of test the product is a series of Facebook Live videos, basically teaching it for free, right? And I think that's going to give me some feedback in terms of what are people responding to, and also capturing kind of what I'm saying. So ultimately, it is going to turn into a product. What are your thoughts about that in terms of testing the viability? Giving it out for free, basically, teaching it. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't give away the whole thing for free.
Yeah.
I would. You've got to be very strategic with what you give away for free.
Okay.
And so I think about the W's. This is the part of any type of product: the who, what, why, where, when, how. Right.
Okay.
So the big thing that people pay for is the how.
Is the how.
Right.
Okay.
They want the step-by-step into how to do something, right? What you can give away for, so you say, okay, here's the exact steps that I do, right? What you can give away is the what and the why.
The what and the why.
Because the why is the motivation.
Okay.
and you cannot do the how unless you have the motivation to do it, unless you are very, very compelled. I know that I need discipline. I know that I can apply that to what I'm doing, and I need to be ready to do it. Otherwise, the how doesn't really matter because I don't really care.
Right.
You know? And so give away as much of the why as possible. And then also, if once you've like planned out your course, there's going to be a lot of things that you want it to be nice and short and to the point. So you're going to have some stuff on the edges that you just don't include.
Yeah.
Those kind of bonuses, those are great for bonuses and for free content.
Okay.
But you can give away some of the how, but a good rule of thumb is make it useful but incomplete.
Okay.
So you've got to leave them wanting more. Like it can't be a full 3-course meal,
Right.
Give them a great appetizer.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Help?
It makes a lot of sense. So, okay, that does make sense. So, as far what do you think about the Facebook Live strategy, though?
I wouldn't teach the whole thing, but
Yeah.
I would teach topics around it.
Yeah.
To really intentionally see. So, what are the main points of this? And then I would talk about and go into maybe a couple of those. So if you have 6 main points, just kind of feel people out and see what try out 3 of those.
Yeah.
And see, because you can kind of combine 2 on each one and just really get feedback.
Okay.
But again, the biggest thing is your email list. It's not sexy. Facebook Live and stuff is, but it is a huge piece of that's the only way that you can really capture these people.
Okay.
Right? It's the only thing that you actually own too. It's the only channel. You don't own Facebook.
Right.
Right? You can pixel them, you can pay Facebook to, reach out to that audience, which is great, but your email list is the most dedicated, it's right there, it's what people check. That's what I would be hugely focused on, building that email list and communicating with people that way.
Okay. And the thing that you and I, when we first discussed, was the importance of having kind of an opt-in, sort of a free thing to capture an email, right?
100%.
So I was thinking what I was going to do as I start pre-promoting this, kind of the free training, was it would be the worksheets for it. I'm going to have sort of worksheets that go with the training.
Love it. Yes.
That's cool?
Yes,
Okay.
I love worksheets.
Yeah, because just to be straight with you, the topic of we were going through kind of an iteration process of my original opt-in, which was like swipe files for recruiting, and I fell out of congruence with that because the truth is I've never had to email someone to get to get a mentor. I've always met them in person, So it was like I started finding myself making up things that I think would work versus what I know would work, right? But in terms of this, I am really itemizing exactly how I go about achieving my goals,
right?
And a worksheet is organically coming out from it,
right?
And I felt like that was
awesome.
a better opt-in.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yes, but you can have. I am also a huge fan of, and it's worked fantastic for us. We use it with all of our clients. So there's all these different words for it: lead magnet, opt-ins. I like to call them content upgrades, because what you do is you have specific worksheets, these opt-ins for different topics on your site. So if you have like 5 main categories on your site,
interesting,
right, that you could maybe fit these different podcasts into,
yeah,
or if a blog, I have a couple different categories. I have different opt-ins for each one of those that are, and this is the key, the more relevant the opt-in is to the content, the higher your opt-in rate will be. So the more relevant that lead magnet, that content upgrade, that PDF, that ebook, that worksheet, that cheat sheet, whatever it is, the more relevant it is. So if you were talking about recruiting, then that recruiting worksheet would be awesome for it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would get a couple and test them, always testing them.
So email list is still absolutely core to any kind of business.
100%.
Do you see that changing anytime soon, given any kind of technology trend?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Nothing even comes close to giving you concern about
really
adjusting?
Doesn't.
It really? Okay, cool.
No. Email's still how it's still, all these other things are great, but you don't own them. You don't own Messenger. You don't own, like Facebook could take that away from you anytime. It's just LinkedIn is great, but you don't own your, you can export your contacts, but that's about it.
Yeah. So email's looking okay, awesome. So let's say as a result of this, I have a fully fleshed out product. I'm starting to capture emails, and the service again is I'm going to companies and teaching this, right? So it's the training. So what is an effective marketing strategy for that?
This is where I would help tailor a marketing strategy to you, because it's different for everybody,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You are fantastic in person. Like, you're doing all these other things that are like inspiring to me. You know, I love following you on Facebook. Sometimes, a lot of times, it makes me feel lazy, because I see you like do training with at these gyms and stuff. I'm like, man, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
But so you want to train this like based off of this course at different companies.
Yeah.
What type of companies?
So I'm thinking,
Who can you help the most?
I think honestly anyone with kind of an employee base that are looking to sort of increase sales, or anyone who wants to increase productivity, right? And so I mean, let's look at the things that have happened before. So my first keynote speech was for a company called Staff One, and they were looking for me to help kind of inspire and motivate their sales team. So I know that already shows viability for me. So let's say sales teams and anyone looking to increase productivity.
Awesome. And I know that market well. I have that course with 15,000 students. So,
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's nice, is because you have the corporate training budgets, right? It's built in, especially at the end of the year, like right now until December, is fantastic, because they're trying to spend them so they don't lose them, right? That's a
good tip.
It's it's funny. I start getting all these calls around November, December. And they're like, it's great. But so speaking is huge. You're already doing that. You have your highlight reel, right? It's in front of people. Like,
I can be more deliberate about making it more targeted.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now my reel is more an acting. And
do whatever
modeling,
you. You need to have just a speaking reel. Do whatever it takes. Like, I work with a lot of speakers bureaus, and I'm signed on to a speakers bureau, and the biggest thing the agents who are, it's one of the best in the world, is get that speaking reel. You know, get it relevant. Make sure there's an audience, so that you're not doesn't just look like you're talking in a empty room. Because you could try to get signed on, which is great, or the other thing is, every time you do a speaking gig, always get a testimonial or a write-up from the event organizer.
From the event organizer, perfect. Okay, cool.
That's huge. And then, I mean, good old-fashioned referrals are huge with that. It injects the authority and bypasses, all those other hoops that you would have to jump into. One thing that I like to do, and I learned this from my good friend Dennis Yu, is you are putting out this content, this podcast and stuff. I would also be creating content around the stuff that you speak about. Okay. So you're creating great articles, maybe videos, maybe pieces of your training, right? With calls to action, relevant opt-ins. So like every single thing that you create on your site, if you have a goal and if you believe that you can help these people, then it is, I feel like, and I know you can, then it would be wasteful not to help them with it, right? So you want these articles always helping them take the next step, which is download the lead magnet, right? Get on your list, and then you nurture them on your list, and you provide help and to in those things that you do, and motivation for them to take the step to hire you when they're ready to, right? So when it comes time to hire you, you are the obvious choice. That's what great content marketing is all about, right? So you create this great content, then you jump on Facebook, and literally for $5 a day, you can promote that. And when you go in and use Facebook ads, I know I'm getting a little bit technical, but it's really not bad. Target all these different companies that you want. Target the people that are the decision makers, and put just some of the big companies around Dallas or wherever that you want to work with. If it's the CEO or the CFO or the whatever, the chief learning, I don't know what the positions are, but do the news stations.
The news stations.
And you're kind of like, it's kind of this inception thing where you are, and you're doing it for a couple bucks a day, right? So it's nothing.
And the piece of content we're putting in front of them is the video?
Is an article, is a video, is something on your
written
website.
Article?
Yeah. It's some kind of value-based content.
Got it.
Where you teach them something, then you give them something to opt in for, and yeah, maybe they won't take action the first couple times, but they're going to start seeing you, and they're like, man, where did I hear that name? Or,
interesting.
Oh yeah, I feel like awesome. I knew him, but a lot of times people don't think about, you can target those and you can even warm them up. And so if you go and call on them or something, or meet them, they're like, yeah, I have heard of you somewhere. They don't remember. They don't even know that that piece of promoted content is an ad. Yeah. They just think it showed up in their newsfeed.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic and dirt cheap way to really warm people up.
Okay.
Just target the people. Like you can get, it's like, you're hunting with a sniper rifle. It's like you can get that specific. So that's a great way. We can keep going and talking about those things. But
one of the things that what I experience with new entrepreneurs, like looking to start any kind of business, is crystallizing their offer. It's like, sometimes people have a hard time kind of articulating it. Like if there was, like for the service business specifically, what should it be? Should it be a landing page with what you do, benefits, or bio? What should that look like? If I had one time to put something in front of someone to show my offer, what is that supposed to look like?
Definitely. So I call it the ugly baby syndrome. No one wants to hear that their baby's ugly, right?
Right.
I have a 6-month-old, and I would probably be pretty pissed if someone called my baby ugly, because he's not. He's not. I'm not biased, but probably the cutest baby in the world. But people are like that with their services, right, or their products. They don't want to. They have a lot of pride, like it's awesome, like I think, my service is awesome. You have to be willing to throw it all away. Like people need to know, and it's back to the feedback. So first, be willing to tweak some things. If it's a passion business, a passion project, you don't care about making money, then by golly, stick to your guns. And but it's kind of that lean method of you're putting something out there and tweaking it, and you're always getting it just right. So don't be afraid to change what you're doing up to meet your customers' needs better. Okay. Right? So regarding the landing page, services and benefits, features and benefits, right? When we look at those two things, the feature is a frame on your, a nail in the wall, and a frame and a picture on the wall, right? The benefit is, it's not just a picture, it lights up the room, it's decorations, it pulls everything together, Your discipline course isn't just, the feature is discipline, and it's follow these steps, those are the features. The benefits are what has happened, right?
Increased productivity, increased sales.
But so that.
Yeah.
So a great trick is you so that whenever you're thinking of something as many times as you can.
Of the benefit?
Of the feature. So it increases productivity so that what?
So that you can increase sales. So you can decrease costs. So you can have a more fulfilling workforce. So they can be happier. So happy people recruit other people. That kind of thing.
So that, exactly.
Yeah.
So that and why. So, okay, and happy people recruit, better people. Okay. So that you can have a better workforce. So that you can decrease, turnover. So that you have A players. Why? Because A players, the difference between A and, and that's really, so you see how like you just went on this long thing.
Yeah.
You started with productivity, then all these other things, that's what would make me buy the course.
Awesome.
Right? So focus on the benefits.
So that's awesome.
Take it to the nth level, like as much as possible, and don't just come up with it yourself. Ask other people, and get them talking. Record it, and really take that to and take how other people describe you and look at it as, man, maybe that is a better way to describe it. So you want to talk about like the layout of a page?
Yeah. So what's the most like logical or way that you should structure the layout? Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different ways, but a great, is just a kind of tried and tested is your headline that is very benefit driven. So it's not I do content marketing. It's I help people communicate their best ideas in a fraction of the time it would take to do themselves. Right.
That's legit. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, I help people get more disciplined. Well, that's the last thing in the world, right?
Right.
I help people create their best life, hire better people, be more profitable, productive, so that all, those types of things, while keeping it as succinct as possible, right?
Got it.
Social proof is huge. So you can say anything you want about yourself. What do other people say about you? And it's not just singing your praises, but also like, what did they learn or what were their results, right? And then one of the biggest things I see people do is it's like, hey, here's everything we do, right? It's just what's the next step that they need to take, just getting them to take that next step. So thinking about, talking about what you do, not how, on that first page, right? So focus on the what and the why.
Got it.
Not the how.
Okay, good. Awesome. I think those are really awesome strategies in terms of marketing. So kind of the next point here is the process or struggle of brainstorming, researching, and coming up with new content consistently. Okay, so where do you start with that? What's good content? What's bad content? And how do you know where to distribute?
What is good content?
Yeah.
I mean, it's subjective, right?
Sure,
it's kind of a trick question. But let's talk about with what you're doing.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is be able to help people that you can really, like, you want to reach people and make a huge impact in their life, right?
Yeah.
And what are some of the ways, like, what are some of the conversations that you have had where you've been able to do that?
With people with very specific pain points. Like, for example, one of my coworkers is having trouble losing weight. She's asking me, how do you remain that consistency and things like that. So
perfect.
A weight loss problem.
I love it. That's exactly, you hit exactly where I wanted to go.
Okay, cool.
Easiest way in the world is FAQs and SAQs. That's the start.
What is an SAQ?
So we all know FAQs are frequently asked questions, right? So every time you get something that ends with a question mark, just have a Google Doc, put it in there with the question, the person that asked, and the date, just so you can keep it in context, right? Super simple. I don't care if you have to, if you write it down on a piece of paper, whatever. Whatever's the easiest way to do it, okay? But think about anybody's email, right? You have a million questions where I know you have written responses the size of blog posts without even thinking about it. You probably have a book just sitting in your email right now.
Yeah.
I would be very willing to bet your audience is the same way. You don't even think about it. That's the difference, right? So those are FAQs, right? Those things that you get asked all the time, you can answer. You have like a great way of answering. People come to you because they know you have a great answer. Those things you don't even think about on autopilot, that is a great way, that is a great place to start with turning those answers into content in other formats.
Wow.
And then the SAQs, questions people should ask.
Questions people should ask, okay.
Right? So, yes, I can ask, how should I lose weight? I can ask, how should I be more productive? But what are the things that I like? That's kind of the question before the question, right? It's not really about losing weight, right? So what's a better question for me to ask?
You're right, it's not really about losing weight. A lot of times it's like, how do I look better? How do I make myself feel better? Look myself in the mirror, that kind of thing. Increase my confidence, gain approval from my spouse, like all sorts of things.
Yeah, have more energy.
Yeah.
Right? How do I get it off and keep it off, right? Just how do I actually do it in a way that I don't hate it? How can I actually
make
eat,
it fun? Yeah.
enjoy, food I enjoy, all those things, right? How can I fit it into my lifestyle? Starts with, how do I lose more weight? That's an FAQ. Then you turn it into the SAQ and help people with, I hear what you're saying, but here's a couple other questions, right? And so good, okay content is how to lose weight. Great content for Julian is how to feel better, have more energy, feel better about yourself, all those things that you're talking about while losing weight. So which article would you rather read? How to lose weight or how to lose weight without, and feel better and do it in a way that you don't even notice.
Like that, of course. It makes it sound easy,
Right,
and I feel
yeah.
like I'm at the end result already, based on what you said.
And remember, we're going back to the whole benefits and features.
Right.
One is losing weight is the feature, benefit is all those other things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about with the, it's considering the emotional aspects. We are emotional creatures, right? We don't, as much as we think we make analytical decisions, we don't,
Yeah.
right? So helping people with that, even if they don't realize that they are, that's a great way to start with content, FAQs and SAQs.
Love it. I think what the answer that I got from that is that what's the kind of content that you create? It's like solutions to problems, right?
Exactly.
And you can get that feedback from everywhere around you. You just look for anyone who has problems, and then you can create content around that.
Problems that relate to what you do.
What I
Yes,
do.
Yes.
Okay. And something that you also say is find the way that you create content the most naturally. I love that.
Yeah.
You know why I love that? Is because I've had coaches in the past try to put me in a
Yes.
direction that I don't feel congruent with. And me, because I'm a really disciplined person, I'm willing to do really uncomfortable things for a long period of time, even though I don't love it. Tell me more about your approach to generating content in a natural way.
It's just like we're doing right now. It's
Yeah.
finding what you do best, whether that is speaking, just chatting, having conversations,
Yeah.
writing. Some people are fantastic writers.
Yeah.
That's where they feel the most at ease. I'm not. I like doing this. I like chatting with somebody else. And because here's a great way to think about it is, do you come up with your best stuff sitting in a room, by yourself, and you're like, Eureka, I've got it, I know exactly what I need to say? Or is it when you are chatting with somebody else and they have a question or a problem and you're helping them, right? And it's that kind of reactive state. That's when your brain goes on autopilot and you don't overthink or second guess yourself. Because when I'm able to help you and get that feedback instantly, and it's like, you're like, oh wow, Joel, this is awesome. I'm like, cool. Like, if I were to come up with that by myself, I'd be like, I don't know if that's any good, right? So that's why doing the interview process is so powerful. It's, you have that real-time feedback with your target audience, and they're like, oh man, yeah, this is great. And you keep going and you're building momentum. So I think just figuring out whatever way that is. I used to just record myself, and talking and do it that way too. Then I would go back and write the post based on that.
Write the post based on that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you can't afford to hire somebody, that's a great way. Everybody has a phone, just throw it on record, talk through it, and then listen back and outline it and then write the post.
And then
Write the
there would be a
article.
blog post, and is that something you would share on Facebook or Instagram?
Heck yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, if you genuinely think it will help people, and it will, then yeah, definitely.
And each piece should have a kind of call to action to point people
100%. Every page on your website should help people. Like, there should not be a dead end on your website. And so you're like, just like in a building, every room has another place to go to. If you're like about page, I scroll to the bottom and I'm like, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Like, I could go back up to the menu, but maybe you have hey, now meet our team, or hey, come see some of the projects we've done, or read this article or something else.
Awesome.
So help them take that next step.
Okay, so this is blowing my mind. So something that I really like to do is, you're right, the conversation thing. I mean, the podcast, but I like making videos. So in terms of marketing, maybe that's the play that I should do, because right now on my YouTube channel, it's the podcast, which is great. But maybe I can take some of the problems that I'm getting from people, applying the system to it, and then talking about it on video, short videos, right?
100%.
And then put that on Facebook, on Instagram, and everything else.
You could even have someone write it and turn it into an article, right?
Oh man, that's awesome. And every video, I mean, there would be kind of like for more tips for this, go to julianplacino.com, or promote the product that I'm creating. Here's the lead capture, that kind of thing.
Yeah, or I would just have one piece
relevant.
of I would have that relevant content upgrade. I wouldn't straight promote the product. I would have that
upgrade.
Yes, that lead magnet that is relevant to what you're doing. Like, we create specific lead magnets for every single post.
For every single post.
I'm not saying get that crazy, but at least per category.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
And then,
Okay.
I mean, think about, there's so many other ways, like with this podcast, you could have a couple written highlights, of like the main points, or you could cut it up into different snippets.
Yeah.
There's all types of different ways.
Love it. Okay, so I do want to go all in with the video piece. It feels natural to me. I've invested in the equipment, and the next step now is promoting your content so it gets seen by the right people. So let's go with the videos. The videos of me teaching how to do certain things, given the problems that I'm solving. How do I get it in front of the right people?
So first, you got to know who they are.
Okay.
We've kind of talked about that, defining that target audience. Get a persona down, so exactly. We even have on ours, and I have a great persona worksheet I can link to give people just to fill it out.
I need that. How do people get that?
We will have a link below here, and I'll have it directly able to grab it.
In this, and just so I know, because I need to do this step, because the truth is, sometimes it's something that you told me that was really important. You said you are not in your market.
Yes.
And that blew my mind, because here I am thinking about I know who my customer is. The thing is, I don't until I do these exercises. So this idea of a persona is interesting. So tell us more about that,
So people think personas what's the demographic, what's the age range? It's really what can we figure out about our target audience that we can actually take action on? What's actionable? So cool. I know, my persona's 30 to 55 or whatever it is, we want to know what do they do when they wake up in the morning, right? What are some of what are they struggling with at work? What are they, your audience, what has their career path been up until this point? Are they happy with where they're at, right? What types of companies do they work at? That's an easy one. But I have just all these different questions. Some pretty easy. Some I'm working with a client right now going through it, a huge international company, and it's tough for them. They are really struggling with, man, who is our target audience? You know? But here's an easy way to do it is, if you have had clients or people you've helped in the past, okay? This is pretty simple, and it's one of the best ways. Pick out 5 of your best clients. And when I say best, I don't mean highest paid or, you make the most money. It's when they give you a call, you are actually excited to answer that. You're not just oh, it's them again. Take them and figure out what they have in common. Okay. And take kind of that group, those main people. You don't want to use your persona as a real person, like one client, because then you'll start getting some unconscious biases about them, and you're almost going too specific. So you want a small sample, right?
Interesting. I've heard the opposite in some cases.
Yeah, I never recommend it being a real person.
Yeah. Okay.
I do want you to have a picture of them.
Yeah.
But it's no one use a stock photo or something.
Got it.
So take those 5 people that you've been able to help the most, and then kind of pull out what are the things that they have in common. What do you like? And you can start breaking it down and answering those questions based off of those people, that small sample size.
Okay, so now you're defining. Would you say the most challenging part is first really understanding who your customer is? Because it sounds like
100%.
there's so many tools that you can input into a computer and be go find these people.
Yep.
So that's the most important part that you think people is kind of like a customer development kind of thing?
100%.
Interesting.
Could not be, I cannot stress that enough. So many people don't know exactly, or they don't commit to a group of people and they say, I can help everybody.
Yeah.
You help everybody, you help no one, right? Think about you're in a train station or at a bus stop, and you say super crowded, and you say, hey everyone, if you're in New York or something, people are not going to probably look up, right?
Yeah.
And then you say, hey guys, just men over 40 or something. You might get a few heads, looking up. But if you said, hey, guys over 40 who have black hats on, who are wearing Adidas sneakers or whatever it is, the person that's doing that is going to be like, holy cow, you just called me out,
Right.
That's how specific you want to get.
That's how specific. Okay. So let's say that the content I'm creating is solving problems. The medium is going to be video. I understand who my customer is. Give us a few tools of what we can use to target that via video.
Definitely. So one is just back to the Facebook thing. It's pixeling. Always pixeling people. If you don't know what it is, all you're doing is it's what happens when you get followed around online after you've visited a website. You start noticing ads everywhere, and you're like, "Wow, this is creepy. They're following me around." That's what people do through Facebook, right? Because you can run ads even if you aren't going to pay anything yet. Just have a pixel on your site and on your content that when people visit, you're just collecting them. It's like building an email list without them even submitting anything. If they just visit your site, you can retarget them for dirt cheap.
Okay, so I guess I know I hope I'm not the only person that doesn't know what this is. So pixeling is something that you can put on your site. I have just a WordPress site.
So you just throw on, same here. You just throw a little chunk of code into your website from Facebook.
Okay, okay. So this is a feature of Facebook.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
It's also through Google. PPC has the same thing. You can retarget people, and then you can retarget them if they've visited your page, right?
Got it. Okay, and it's called pixeling. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's just makes it really easy, and like I said, you can do it for $1 or $2 a day. That's it.
Wow.
So people are just seeing it. You're not just relying on organic. Is great, but you can't just rely on that.
Yeah. So it sounds like Facebook is your go-to marketing tool?
It's the wrong question.
Okay.
It is if it is right for my audience.
If it's right for your audience.
Yeah. And it's right for a lot of audiences. But it could be LinkedIn. They can do the same thing. You can retarget with YouTube. So you would do like a Google PPC, pixel.
Which of those three do you think you can really target to the most like granular? Facebook, YouTube, Google?
You can do all of them.
Really?
They're different. Facebook's more off of interests, right? Google's more off of intent, right? So Facebook, it's more like demographics. I want to target someone who works in a company that makes over $1 million who is in this position, right? Google is more like I want to target someone who is searching for how to increase my discipline.
Interesting, right? Because you're asking questions into Google, right? And that's the intent.
Yep.
And then Facebook is like, this is what happened.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
Right? We fill out all that info on Facebook. Like that's our interests, all that stuff about us. That's Facebook's, that's how they target.
So what would YouTube be then? If there was a question or
it's still a search engine, so
So
it's the intent
question,
for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, we talked about promoting content, getting it seen by the right people. And the last step here is generating leads, optimizing your website, SEO, email sequences. So this is kind of some technical stuff. So just give us a few highlights on that.
So again, you have the lead magnets always. I know email is not sexy, but I like you said earlier, then I go build my email list. No, you start building your email list yesterday. It is, if I had my way, it would be one of your number one priority. Even more so than your YouTube channel. It's easy to ignore a new YouTube video from somebody. When I'm on your email list, I will you have a new episode coming out. I want to be emailed.
Got it.
Do you do that?
No.
That's a super easy place to start.
Yeah. Okay.
Doing it in a conversational way, showing your personality through that. You can show your personality through email. You know. Do it through a video, then just transcribe it, turn it into an email, or you can have just people click on the video link and through email and do that.
Are there free transcribing tools? I tried the Dragon Dictation software. It's not the best, I guess, but I mean, do you have one?
I've got a tool for everything.
Really?
I'm a nerd when it comes to all those things. Yeah, I've tried them all out. I've even tried. So Google Docs has their own voice to text.
And is it good?
I've tried it against my $300 Dragon Dictation, and it beat it.
Are you serious? I'm going to do that after this.
Dude, it's fantastic.
It's in Google Docs? Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Command-Shift-S if you're on Mac is the key, is the code, the keyboard shortcut, or it's just in Tools.
Yeah.
I'll show you after this.
Holy crap.
Dude, it's unreal how good it is.
Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't even pay for Dragon.
Sweet. Awesome. That's a huge tip, man.
So you could like play your stuff, turn on
in front of the thing, and then it
There you go.
Oh my goodness. I'm geeking out right now, man. Seriously.
There is another crazy program. It's gone out of beta, but you can still get it was like a couple 100 hours for free. Called VoiceBase, where you just upload your video or MP3, and it does full machine transcription.
Wow.
For free. Like, it's not perfect, but it does a really good job.
And what is that called?
VoiceBase.
VoiceBase.
Yep. And you can literally, you type in a word. It's like, okay, where did we mention marketing in this, right? And it'll pop over and highlight every single use of that, and you can just jump to that in the audio so you can see.
That?
It's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Trint is another one that's a little more TRINT. It's what podcasters use for getting their podcasts transcribed. That's what NPR uses.
Trent.
Okay.
And that's a paid resource?
Yes.
Okay.
It's dirt cheap though.
Yeah.
It's dirt cheap. Yeah. So yeah, we'll throw links into all of those.
Heck yeah, man. Those are amazing.
Yep.
I mean, just by that, it's like I have a workflow, but I'd be able to do so much more with just a few of these tools.
Leverage, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So just because you aren't great at writing doesn't mean that you can't create amazing written content.
Yes, that's okay. That's what I was trying to articulate, because I suck at writing. I can't do it. It's not the nature of how I create content.
I'm not great at writing either, but I have awesome editors.
Yeah.
I have awesome proofreaders. I have awesome writers. I have my team interviews me.
Yeah.
I figure out a way to do it.
I love it.
So that's but a lot of people just don't. They say, I suck at writing. They have brilliant stuff to say, but they just don't take that next step and say, okay, well, how else can I do it?
Dude, Joel, there's a book already with the 85 episodes that I produced already. I'm sure there are all sorts of success stories that just needs to be codified and turned into a product.
100%. Look at what Tim Ferriss did.
Amazing.
With Tools of Titans.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was, right? Incredible.
Jason Fried's 37 Signals books, you can literally take them and take his blog and pull the blog posts out into, they're just every
rework.
Yeah. It's just all just blog posts.
Get out of town. Amazing.
So every chapter is just made up of.
And the thing is, it's value because it's curated. It's like the best stuff of everything. I love it.
I mean, I worked with with two other guys, and we took the content that we had written on e-commerce. This is a couple years ago. Put it together, and in less than a month, we organized it, edited it, proofreaded it, launched it as a book on Amazon, Kindle book on Amazon, and hit #1 just for a fun project. Like we had the content laying around. We're like, oh, e-commerce a couple years ago was not a huge niche, and just as a fun test, and bam, that's how we reused and leveraged the content.
That is so crazy. The thing is, I feel like I have so much content already.
Yep. It's just
amazing.
being a better steward of that content.
I love it.
So a lot of people are great at producing it, but it ends there.
Yeah.
So it's how do you now leverage and help people more? Because it's just a big blog with endless depths of stuff, in it doesn't help anybody.
Right.
People don't go through blog post by blog post. So the organization, right, the application, using things like worksheets to help people apply it, that's where the value is.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Joel, let's close with one more topic, and this is very relevant to kind of what I'm doing right now. It's I'm building this platform so I could help more people. But in order for me to do that, I sort of have to sort of grow myself and elevate kind of my position. So building authority and thought leadership in an age where anyone can claim anything. Give us a few points in what actually moves the needle.
Definitely. So anyone can claim anything, right?
Yeah.
We see it all the time. I'm going to move to my big...
Absolutely. Feel free to, man.
What most people can't claim, though, is actually doing it. Because most consultants, let's be honest, are just people that couldn't actually do what they were trying,
teach
to
what
do.
they were taught.
And then, and now they just try to teach it to other people, even though they haven't done it themselves. Because it's easier to talk about it than to do it.
Right.
So, being results focused and driven, and helping your clients, those success stories that you've had, really, really highlighting those and using those, not being afraid to. It's not bragging, it's showing people, and people like to see it applied, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge piece. And I think you do a good job of that in what you're doing. You use real applications. You aren't afraid to use it with your self, and you are being vulnerable. You're not saying I have it all together. You're saying, hey, this is my journey. Come with me on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here telling you what to do. I'm on this journey with you. Right?
So it really is focusing on the results and then showing. Okay, so for the content creators out there who feel like, what if my result isn't great enough? You know what I mean? I mean, because something that I was told is that it just needs to be a little bit better than the people that you're serving. Is there truth to that, or what are your thoughts on that?
If you can help people get to that next step, then you can definitely, then that's great.
Yeah.
What I don't advocate is saying you can help them get, if you haven't gotten to, all the way, here or something, if you haven't helped other people do that, then set the expectations right. Right? Say, I can help you get to here, and don't say I can help you get to here. So really set those expectations. I think that is huge. But the cool thing is you can go out and do it, do it for free, do whatever it takes to get those results. I mean, when I first started off, I was doing stuff for free, left and right, on the contingency that, hey, if I perform, then we'll solidify something. But do whatever it takes. I mean, get scrappy. That's I think people get too comfortable and just don't try those things. But I'm a huge fan of that.
So to build authority, results is the name of the game, then.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things, but consistency is another huge thing.
Right.
So like you're putting these things out, don't start building up that audience and then go dark,
Right.
Really stay consistent with those things. And then also, it's the halo effect too. You're not on an island, right? You do need to, you're building these different relationships. So work with other people, do different partnerships, maybe jump on a webinar with somebody else, get exposed to their audience, your audience gets exposure to them, but you don't have an audience if you don't have an email list. That's the other big thing, that. I'm going to keep pounding that into your head now. But that's another huge thing is just is partnersps with people. Like now that you've proven that you know what you're talking about, yes, you could get maybe to where you want to be by yourself, but it's going to take 10 times longer. So work with other people.
Love it.
That's from partnerships, guest posting, being on podcasts, doing all these different things. But I think that is absolutely huge.
Joel, this has been amazing, man. I feel like just in the duration of the hour or so that we talked, I mean, this itself, it feels like a product already too, right? You're allowing me to think differently, because this is the natural way that I create content, but just capturing it and retooling it and repurposing it, man, that's what a marketer is. I guess that's so awesome. Well, Joel, how can people connect with you, learn more about you, work with you? Tell us all that.
Yeah. So my website is fluxe.co, fluxe.co. That's the easy URL. But yeah, one thing we talked about was we're talking about all this content marketing, so I want to just include a link below for your audience. Like we talked about the persona worksheet, but also I have a great worksheet that I take people through, and it's super helpful. You were saying, and before the podcast, you want to use it. It's just a way to create a year's worth of content in an hour. So just a step-by-step, just kind of way that you can easily and intentionally brainstorm. So I'll put that and put those two together so you can download them both at the same time, completely free, of course. It'll be right below. And then if any of your audience has questions about these things, I would be more than happy to jump on a 15-minute phone call.
Sweet, man.
So we'll throw the link in to do that and just schedule in my calendar. If you have questions about the content marketing or anything that we talked about, be more than happy to do that for them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Joel, this has been a blast, man. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. There's a ton of value. So everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Pathways to Success podcast. As always, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, share this out with everyone you know, leave a comment, connect with Joel, and we'll see you next week on the next episode of the Pathways to Success.